Welcome back to the Brave Writer Podcast. I'm Julie Bogart. Today's episode is a treat. It's a little different than our usual content. I'd like to make you aware of a podcast I do for kids called The Monday Morning Meeting. Every Monday for 5 minutes, I talk directly to your kids 0 to 18, although I think the median age is probably about 10 or 11. And I give them some kind of activity that they can pursue easily on their own. The podcast only lasts 5 minutes, but it's meant to inject a little life and inspiration into your homeschool. I know a lot of parents put it on during breakfast on Monday mornings. Today, we're featuring 3 of the most popular of our podcasts from last year. The first one is called Hidey Holes, and it features ways your kids can create a cozy spot for learning and studying in the home. The second one is called Nature Table, and it invites kids to go on walks where they collect artifacts from nature to display in the home. The third one is called Movie Twins. How can your kids take 2 movies from different eras on the same topic and compare and contrast them? We launch our new season of the Monday Morning Meeting in September, and we have some wonderful episodes lined up for you there. I can't wait for you to join us. If you would like to subscribe, head over to the show notes and click on the Substack link, and we look forward to having you be a part of our Monday Morning Meeting community. And now, without further ado, enjoy these podcasts with your kids. Good morning, brave learners. I'm Julie Bogart. Today is our first Monday morning meeting, and I'm so glad you're here. This podcast is for you, though it's okay if your parents listen in too. Each week, I've got ideas for you to try in your homeschool. You get to be in charge of this idea, but feel free to ask your adult for help if you need it. This week's activity is one of my favorites. Have you ever felt tired of sitting at the kitchen table? Maybe you're sick of being at your desk, doing handwriting, or finishing the math page. Maybe you're sick of your workbook, or you wish you didn't have to do copywork sitting in that stiff back chair again. After a few months of that daily routine, I know how I might feel. A teensy bit bored or even annoyed. The way to break out of boredom is to change something that is driving you crazy. And if you're sick of sitting in that chair, I have an idea for you. Have you ever heard of a hidey hole or a blanket fort? A hidey hole is a secret space you create for yourself in your house, like in a corner behind a recliner or under a card table or maybe inside your bedroom closet. A hidey hole is your secret space where you can be alone and read a book, or copy your copywork on a clipboard, or sit and work your math raps without anyone interrupting you. In fact, in a hidey hole, it's sometimes fun to even pet your kitty cat or your puppy dog as a way to have a little bit of company, but it's not all the other people in the house. It's just your favorite pet. The way that you make a hidey hole is to use all these elements that you've already got in your home. What I recommend is jotting some of these down as I'm saying them. You might need to pause the podcast to give yourself time to write each word, or enlist the help of your parent or adult that is in the room listening with you now. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. It might be nice to have some blankets, sheets, lambskins, pillows, giant cardboard boxes left over from like an appliance, a small piece of movable furniture like a low table or a step stool. It's always nice to have a lamp or a flashlight or even a clip-on book light. A clipboard is almost essential for your practice of homeschool inside your hidey hole. The way to build it is to look for a corner that would be sort of secretive. So you might find a corner in your living room behind an overstuffed chair. You're going to put a soft pillow behind that chair, maybe a cozy blanket and a lamp, and then grab a sheet and put it over the top and pin it to the wall in some way. Another way to create a hidey hole is to get a card table, throw a sheet over the top in the corner of the den, and simply build your cozy space underneath that card table. Some kids really love creating hidey holes inside their bedroom closets because now they've got a sliding door that protects them from invaders. No matter where you build your hidey hole, the goal is to make it cozy and comfortable for you. You might add a basket to hold your books. If you can't use a lamp, consider adding a flashlight or a book clip lamp light. Once you've got your hidey hole, the goal is to use it. Ask your parent, your adult, for whatever the next activity is that you're supposed to do for homeschool. Handwriting your alphabet, reading a chapter from a book, doing your math problems, and take that with you into your hidey hole and enjoy doing your work in this new environment. You might be amazed at how much more interesting what you're doing is when you're alone and cozy. Now, sometimes you will have a younger sibling like a toddler who really wants in. They see it as so special. You have two options. One, you can be a generous older sibling and let them in. They usually reward you with hugs. Or you can help them build their own hidey hole so that they don't feel left out. I hope you take this opportunity to create a new space for learning and let me know how it goes for you. Thanks for joining me this morning for our first morning meeting on a Monday for the Brave Learning community. I'm so glad you're here.
You know those mornings when even getting the kids fed feels like a win, let alone juggling everything else on your plate? I've sure had those days where I just needed a moment to breathe. That's why I love what Maestro Music is doing for homeschool families. Picture your child settling in with their instrument, headphones on, learning from one of Maestro's hand-selected instructors who truly care about helping your child find their own musical voice. And here's something special. Maestro is offering a full month of private lessons completely free. That's 4 live sessions tailored to your child's pace and interests. Visit www.maestromusic.online/brave to sign up or find the link in our show notes.
Good morning, brave learners. So glad you've joined me again today. As we enter the next season of the year, I thought it would be the perfect time to talk to you about nature. Many of you love to play outside. You get to go on climbing equipment or go to a local creek or park to play. But what would it be like to become a collector of natural artifacts? Artifacts is kind of a big word. Basically, it would be items that you find in nature. Maybe it's a piece of driftwood or a seashell in a tide pool at the ocean. Maybe you're collecting smooth stones that are in a creek near your backyard. Perhaps you're gathering acorns or seed pods falling off the trees. Maybe you will gather something I haven't even mentioned in this discussion. No matter what it is, it can be used to create a beautiful nature table in your house. I'm going to tell you how, so get ready. The first thing you want to do is ask your adult to plan a nature outing. It can be just in your neighborhood where you're walking on a sidewalk and passing houses or apartments, or it can be something a little more intentional, like driving to the beach or a creek, or going to a state park that is filled with trails into the woods. To go on this trip, make sure that you bring with you a little backpack that you can use to support yourself while you're doing the hard work of nature exploration. Here are a few things I would suggest you put in your backpack. A couple of Ziploc bags for you to collect your items of nature. A pair of binoculars if you have them. A magnifying glass if you have one. I recommend that you bring a little notebook and a pencil in case you want to jot something down. Definitely bring your water bottle or a juice box and a snack to give you energy. In my family, we really loved trail mix, but you might like a granola bar or some other item like cut up apple or orange slices. Here are some items to look for on your nature walk. You could look for different shapes and sizes of leaves. They also come in such a wide variety of colors. Take a look for sticks, the really big, long kind, or the teeny tiny kind. If you go to the ocean, you might even find driftwood. Pine cones and fir cones come in all shapes and sizes, and you might even want to look those up to know the difference. It's fun to look for seed pods or seeds. Sometimes you'll notice that there are different types of bark that are papery thin or something that is a little bit thicker and more chunky, and you can pull that off of a tree or find bits of bark that have fallen off of a tree. In some parts of the country, you can find moss or lichen, which almost feels like a magical fairy world. So you might want to be able to tear a little bit of that off and slip it into one of your Ziploc bags. Don't underestimate the importance of collecting rocks. Now, you might not want to collect so many that your bag gets really heavy, but there are smooth stones and jagged rocks. And in some places, you may even find rocks that have fossils embedded in them. In addition to plants, rocks, and sticks, you might want to take a look at bird feathers. You might be interested in looking for acorns, sand, seashells. Any of these items make wonderful contributions to a nature table. In some parts of the country, you might even see the remains of an owl pellet, and those can be really exciting to contribute to your nature table. You're going to find things where you live that I haven't even thought of, so be on the lookout for things that make you curious. Don't forget to use your binoculars and your magnifying glass to help you see things up close and from far away while you're on this walk. Take a break midway through your walk to have a snack, to drink your juice or your water, and then finish looking for a few more items. When it's time to go home, what you'll want to do is set up a small table in your house. You might even put a little tablecloth on it and lay out each of your nature items on that table in a display. If you know how to handwrite, you can even create little place cards that describe what you found and where you found it, almost like a small nature museum in your home. And that's it. That's how you create a nature table that can rotate all kinds of items that you share with family and friends. If you're like me, you probably want to harness that back-to-school energy that you see in your kids when you kick off in the fall. That's when I would pick a big project to tackle with them because they still had a lot of energy. We've got classes like world building, which really appeals to gamers, writing the short story, essay prep dynamic thinking, middle school writing projects, Brave Writer 101, our main course when you're just getting started with us, story switcheroo for your little kids, and even something like script writing for those kids who want to write the next best Netflix show. Check us out. I think you'll find that these classes pay dividends all year. Once your kids experience being read and valued for their self-expression, they'll want to see if they can have that effect on you. We see ourselves as a great antidote to the rise of ChatGPT. Check the show notes for a link, and we hope to see you in an online class with Brave Writer. Good morning, Brave Learners. This week, we're going to be watching movies. So you're going to need at least 2 afternoons or 2 evenings set aside just for watching a movie. And in fact, if you're anything like me, you're also going to want to have popcorn or some kind of snack ready to go because why watch a movie if you don't get to eat something? Okay, so here's the goal for this week's activity. Have you ever noticed that some storylines have more than one movie? For instance, Disney's Beauty and the Beast has an animated version, but it also has a live action version. The movie Parent Trap that was released in the 1990s also has a version that is from the 1960s. If you can, locate 2 movies that have the exact same storyline, and I want you to watch them 2 days apart. You're going to watch Either one, you can go in either order, the most recent one followed by the original, or you can start with the older one and then watch the remake. One of the skills you're going to use when watching these movies is something we call compare and contrast. Comparing and contrasting are skills you probably already have and didn't even know you were using. To compare something means to find similarities. When you use the skill called contrasting, you're noticing differences. So let me give you an example. Let's say you decide to watch the two different films called The Parent Trap. The main character in the older version is played by an actress named Hayley Mills. In the more modern version, the same character is played by Lindsay Lohan. What you will want to do is notice how the storylines are similar, how the actresses employ similar personality traits or behaviors, or how they deliver lines that remind you of each other. But then if you're contrasting them, you're going to notice the different acting choices each actress makes. Which one is funnier? Who delivers a line that really catches your attention? Do you believe both of them equally? This is the skill that you need to use when you're comparing and contrasting. What other differences could you notice? Time period, clothing choices, storylines. Sometimes it's easier to find differences than similarities. So if you want to start with the differences, that's a great idea. And here's what you can do. Get a clipboard, draw a line down the middle of a sheet of paper. On one column, put compare, and on the other column, put contrast. And what you want to do is list the similarities and the differences that you see between these two films. Now, you can be keeping track of these while you're watching, or you can reflect on the film when it's over and see how many you can remember or recall or think about. I know for me that sometimes I can't even notice the contrast until I've watched, I'm almost afraid to say this, both movies twice. So if you want to watch these films more than once, like once through to enjoy it, and then another time to compare or contrast it to the other movie, well, that's okay. We call that a deep dive. A deep dive in this case means patiently observing those similarities and differences. One way to really help you capture the differences in acting choices is to load up one movie on your iPad and the other movie on a computer or a television, and select a piece of dialogue that is in both movies. A lot of times the script will have a lot of overlap. And then what you can do is watch those two scenes back to back. And now you'll be able to see what kind of voice, what kind of intonation, what kind of pacing these actors are choosing to deliver those lines. It's really quite entertaining to see them side by side. So that's another way to do a deep dive. I hope that you have a really fun week watching a lot of movies, and I hope you'll come back here and share in the comments which movies you observed and some comparisons and contrasts that you captured on your clipboard as you watched both movies. See you again next week on our Monday morning meeting. Thank you so much for joining us today to hear these 3 episodes of the podcast. Can't wait for you and your kids to be a part of our community. Head over to Substack and subscribe today. Okay, that's another Brave Writer episode in the books. Thanks for joining Melissa and me today. We love it when you leave us reviews, when you send us comments via text message. We read them all. We also couldn't do this show without our fabulous production team at Nova, or Jeanette Hall, the Brave Writer team member who handles all those administrative details you know nothing about. In the meantime, we hope that you have a fantastic week. Keep going, think well. We're rooting for you.